Today we are discussing something about chemistry. Let us even see the importance of chemistry in our day-to-day life. So my dear friends, I request all the students to see that you start loving chemistry. Know the importance of chemistry in our day-to-day life. From the day begins to the day end, the whole of our life is involved with chemistry. The food what we eat, everything is nothing but a molecule. Carbohydrates, a protein or vitamin or minerals or whatever it is. Completely the food is completely a chemical produced by the plants or whatever it is. So my dear friends, the knowledge of chemistry is very useful in our day-to-day life. Food what we take, the shelter what we take. So the shelter what we take, we use iron, we use cement. Without chemistry there is no cement factory. The composition and all the things what we use for the constructions. So we use chemistry. Food, clothing and shelter. In all the three basic needs we use chemistry. Even the secondary needs are also being fulfilled. For example, you are hospitalized. You are not feeling well. You have to take a tablet. Again, everything is chemistry. All the pharmaceuticals are just chemistry, chemicals. So the knowledge is chemistry. The knowledge of chemistry is very important even in the medical field. Even in every field. So my dear friends, the field of chemistry is there everywhere. So my dear friends, let us now have a brief discussion about atomic structure. The structure of the atom. This atom was discussed very long back, near about 3000 years back like that, by our Maharshis. One of the name of the Maharshis, Kannad, he has given the information for us as Paramanu, which is called the atom, and Anu, which is called the molecule. This was written in our Vedic literature. Means our ancient scholars observed that in nature, different substances are, the basic unit is the same in different substances. For example, you take water. The water what you are taking from a well or water what you are taking from you may take any source of water, from a river or wherever you take from. Water is the same. The formula is the same. It consists of H2O, two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen combined together is water. Whether you go to any country, it is fixed. Similarly, we are having in the periodic table, we are having near about 100, 110 elements are there. Just if you see the periodic table, you will understand. So my dear friends, the basic things, the basic elements, these are all the basic elements. Anything, for example, our body is constructed with, it's a combination of nearly about 120 trillions of cells are living togetherly to form this body. Nearly. So it is a union of so many cells. This is our body. Anything you take, anything in the universe is made up of, if you break and break and break, finally, the smallest indivisible particle. This was given by John Dalton. The smallest indivisible particle he called as atom. And Dalton told in his Dalton's atomic theory that this atom is the finest one and it cannot be divided further. And in that way the development started, people started thinking. People started thinking, observing, doing different experiments, discovering the unknown materials from the Earth's crust. Everything has to be available from the Earth's crust itself. So my dear friends, in our culture, you just go to our Indus Valley civilization. Even That indicates that the metallurgy have developed. That indicates that the chemistry have developed. People have used a burnt brick. That indicates that they know how to burn a brick. That also is chemistry. So they observed that the burnt brick is it's becoming more stronger than the raw brick. That means the development of the chemistry has happened thousands of years in India. And my dear friends, during the time of Ashoka the Great, he has used iron pillars wherever he went. He has used iron pillars even after 2000 years, 2300 years before he ruled this country, the whole of this country. And even today, those pillars of the iron what he has used is not getting rusted. Rust-proof iron. That indicates that a metallurgy is at its peak. The development is, very good development is there in the field of chemistry. So my dear friends, in our country, the things what our ancestors have done shows that this field is very well known to our ancestors. So my dear friends, you just observe the complete of our culture. So just see the culture behind. Our culture is strongly bonded with chemistry. We have the culture of using the turmeric. Most of the time we try to use the turmeric. In any auspicious occasion we use turmeric. It is an antibiotic. This is being used from long back, thousands of years back. Means the knowledge of chemistry is there. And thousands of years back we are having the field of Ayurveda is there. Ayurveda is also very well developed in India. That is completely related to chemistry. So my dear friends, this all proves that in India there is a great development has taken place. And we have to feel proud that in India we had great universities nearly about, during the time of Chanakya the Great, means almost 2400, 2500 years back, in India we are having world famous universities like Takshashila University, where chemistry is also one of the important subjects studied in those days. So my dear friends, let us be proud about our ancestors and let us work hard for the next generations. Chemistry is not just meant for knowing the atom, no. It is meant for applying to our day-to-day life. That is nothing but the application. To what extent you are able to apply chemistry, the knowledge of chemistry, to your day-to-day life. If you are really good in applying the knowledge, what you attained, there is no need of going to any doctor in your lifetime. You can become a doctor to yourself. Without knowing, without applying the knowledge. Swami Vivekananda says a golden sentence that tons of theory is of no use. So you have by-hearted the whole of the library. That's of no use. But ounce of practice is important. Your practice must be important. Your application is important. Not just by hearting chemistry in your chemistry class and just leaving it. And chemistry is not meant for your examinations. Okay, it is meant for examination, no doubt, but it is something more than that. More than the examination. So I request all the students, please see that. Try to worship this subject. Try to worship it. Chemistry is not in a book, in the textbook. It is everywhere in the nature. It is everywhere in the nature. The air what we breathe, the food what we eat, the water what we drink, everything is filled with chemistry. So my dear friends, our life is completely bonded with, our life itself is, our body itself is a combination of different chemicals. This body construction itself. So my dear friends, let us love the subject. I strongly feel that a student can learn anything only when he loves the subject, when he worships the subject, when he developed a passion towards learning, these are all the qualities the student must develop. See, my dear friends, something which is bitter, it is difficult for us to eat. For example, you take neem leaf. It is bitter when you are eating, it is bitter. But that is going to make you to be healthy throughout your life without any kind of ailments. It's going to balance the complete body. The best doctor, see, while eating it is bitter, but the fruit is good, the yield is good. So my dear friends, please try to know the reality, and that is important. That is the most important. So my dear friends, let us have a small discussion about chemistry, in that too, the structure of an atom. If you take an iron piece, that iron piece is made up of, if you just take the finest thing, it's made up of the iron atoms. If you take an aluminium plate, what you are using at home, it is again made up of the aluminium atoms. If you just go to the finest level. If you are wearing the gold ornaments, that is made up of gold ornaments. The basic thing is the atom there. That is the real, that is the reality. The atom is the reality. The shape may be, one may be in a bangle shape, one may be in the necklace shape, the shape may be different. But the basic entity is the same. Whether you may use that gold or any European is using, or an American using, or an Australian person is using, anyone is using. Gold atom is the same. The shape of the ornament may change. So my dear friends, here the shape of the iron may change. May be changing in constructing different things, in most of the alloys, the steel, what we use, iron is the main alloy. So by mixing 2 or 3 elements, we are getting an alloy. Alloy is nothing but the mixture of 2-3 metals. Together we call it as an alloy. Even, my dear friends, our ancestors have used alloys thousands of years before. Means they know about the metallurgy to that extent. So, coming to the atom, how small is the atom is so difficult to tell, to describe for me. So I am trying to give an example. How small is an atom means, just this is an example. If you take a spoon of water, how many atoms are there in that spoon of water? Means, if you go to a Pacific Ocean, the biggest ocean, how many spoons of water are there in that Pacific Ocean? See, it's very difficult to count. One lifetime, not one lifetime, hundreds and thousands of lifetimes are not sufficient to count the number of spoons of water present in the Pacific Ocean. So huge is the number. So many atoms are there in one spoon of water. Means now you could understand, you could only imagine, you could just imagine. So many number of atoms are there. Means how small is the atom, you have to feel. The only thing is that you have to feel how small, how minute is atom. My dear friends, today you are able to see the bacteria, we are able to see the virus, we are able to see many things with the help of the microscopes, simple compound microscope. Even we are able to magnify any substance, any element 1 lakh times. Even up to 1 lakh times we are able to magnify with an electron microscope. Even with that, we can't see an atom. Atom cannot be seen even with that powerful microscope also. So that indicates that we are now studying a subject which you can't see. The atom you are studying, but you cannot see the atom. But you are studying about the atom, which you cannot see it. You can't use any of your sense organs directly to see an atom. See, the knowledge is gained by the 5 windows we have. All the 5 windows are the 5 sense organs. We learn something, we come to know about something by seeing, or by listening, or by smelling, or by tasting, or by touching. These are the sense organs we use to learn something, to know about something. but we cannot see. When we cannot see, this is a so small and minutest thing, but we are trying to study about it. So in that aspect, all the scientists have used the common sense. Common sense is very important. But how to go for using the common sense? For example, you may ask me what is the meaning of common sense. Just for example, I have given you a box where I am just putting, you didn't see what I kept inside, but I kept some sand in it, I kept some marbles in it, and I kept some wooden pieces in it, I kept some other pebbles in it, or stones which are not regular in shape. I just kept 4 or 5 elements in it and just closed it, the lid, and gave to you. And I asked you to investigate what is present in that. Now, my dear friends, you did not see what I kept with your eyes. But soon after I give a box, you just keep shaking and observe that, okay, there may be some sand in it. Your assumptions, your observations and your assumptions, your conclusions. See, my dear friends, these observations are very important because you are observing the sound, what you are getting. You are coming to a conclusion that there may be sand. You are seeing the difference, something is rolling. By listening to that, you are predicting that, okay, some kind of round body may be there. You are not seeing, but you are estimating. You are predicting that there is a chance of a rolling body like marble may be there. Your wooden pieces are there, the sound of the wooden piece is sounding in a different frequency. So you are observing that, okay, there are some kind of wooden pieces are there because the sound is different when you just shake. You are shaking in different ways, but you are not opening the lid and you are giving right answers with your predictions. See, my dear friends, most of our scientists have predicted many things. Predictions are very important, and later the conclusions will come with the observations. So in that way, the science have taken its steps, predictions and conclusions, observations and conclusions. So my dear friends, when they are systematically arranged, we are studying them as different models or theories or whatever it is. Now you are understanding how to use our common sense. See, the common sense is very important, my dear friends. Okay, now coming to the atom, we have discussed about Kanad, about our scientists. In those days we used to call them as Rishis. Discussed about Dalton. And now one of the very important thing is in one place, a tube was used, and this tube, like our tube light, is giving light with different colors. There is one person, he is not a very well-known person, but one person who created such kind of tube, which is giving different colorful lights are being displayed. So from that observation, the scientists started observing the tube. See, cathode rays are very important, and they have guided the scientists in this journey. The cathode rays have taken a key role. So that's the reason why I am trying to discuss about the cathode rays first, because that has guided our scientists. So you must know what is the meaning of the cathode rays. Before I go to the cathode rays, construction of them, for example, just a small, if you are taking a tube light, here there is an anode, there is one, the two electrodes are connected to the positive and the negative terminal. So this electrode is connected to the negative terminal and this electrode is connected to the positive terminal. We call this as the anode and this as the cathode. So the positive terminal is connected to the anode. This terminal we call as this electrode we call as the anode, and this one which is connected to the negative terminal we call it as cathode. That is known. And in our tube light, what we use, we remove the air from it. And the pressure, general pressure is, atmospheric pressure is 76 centimeters in terms of millimeters. You can even say this is a normal pressure at a sea level. But here in our tubelets near about 2 mm of Hg is maintained. 2 mm of Hg pressure is maintained in our general tubelets what we use. Means the air is being sucked off, removed. Maximum it is removed. Very negligible amount is there. So my dear friends, here I would like to discuss about, okay, I am getting deviated from the atom, but it is required deviation, that's why I am getting deviated. Here we are using the electricity is passing through the air through this tube for a normal tube light. I am not talking about a normal tube light. And mostly we use an inert gas like nitrogen with a very low pressure. And in the tube light we are seeing that there is a beam of light throughout. There is no filament. In a filament light in the olden days we used to see a filament light. In the filament light, if you take a bulb, the bulb used to have a filament. That filament used to become red hot and white hot and give light. Because here the principle is different in glowing the light. Here the principle is different in glowing the light. Here is the resistance of the coil is very high. Because of the high resistance, because the coil is very thin and we use the tungsten as a filament material, and because of high resistance, the electron is working so hard to just move. Because of that, the electron is just vibrating in its own position, getting heated up due to the resistance. As it is getting red hot and white hot, light is emitted. So that is the principle of resistance. We are using the resistance. That is converted into electrical energy into light energy. But in this case, there is no filament is not there. It is a tube. If the current is passing through it, the current is passing through it. Now you can ask me a question. Madam, how can the current pass through air? Air is a bad conductor of electricity. Yes, air is a bad conductor of electricity. General conditions at this what atmospheric pressure or 76 centimeters of Hg atmospheric pressure, what we are, air is a bad conductor. Because air is a bad conductor, we are able to live, we are alive. Otherwise, we might have got shocked because we are having so much of electricity passing through around us. We might have got shocked. So, my dear friends, we are living because air is a bad conductor of electricity. But the same thing when you see air is also a conductor of electricity during the heavy thunders, lightning and thunders. During that time, heavy discharge of electricity takes place. At that time, air is becoming a conductor and it is conducting into the earth. And when it is falling, it will be selecting the tall towers, tallest buildings or the tallest trees. Such kind of, if you are standing there, it will even select us also because our body is a good conductor of electricity. Okay, we will discuss all these things when we, but air also becomes a conductor when the potential difference is increasing maximum. At a very high potential difference, air also becomes a conductor. So potential difference is an important word here. I am trying to use this word, potential difference. So my dear friends, at normal conditions, at normal atmospheric pressure, air is a bad conductor of electricity, no doubt about it. But now again we are using at very high potential difference. This is a new word for you. Potential difference is a new word. What is the meaning of potential difference? Let us give a discussion about what is the meaning of potential difference. Before my dear friends, please try to by heart these values. These are the standard values which every student must know. Our atmospheric pressure is 76 centimeters of Hg. Okay, you may ask me, madam, why it is only 76? Again, I will discuss when I discuss about that particular chapter about that in detail. Still, I will go about it, but now presently by heart it. Now, I am just trying to discuss about what is the meaning of potential difference in specific. Potential difference not going in detail, but I'll try to make it a bit clear. My dear friends, now I'd like to take an example. Everything, this meaning of potential, what is the meaning of potential? Let us not consider difference later. We'll see what is the meaning of potential. For example, I would like to give some examples of potential. Our country is having very good potentiality of youth, young, because the average age of this country is only 28. The average age of this country is only 28. Young energetic blood is there. This country is having a great potential of youth. And this country is having a great potential of very good solar energy, because our location, our latitudes are in such a way that we are having very good amount of solar energy throughout the year. So our potentiality of solar energy is very high. Next, our country is having a very good potential of skillful people. Skillful people are there. Our skill is in different dimensions. We have skillful in our culture. Our ancestors, generations together, they were expertise in a particular skill. If you take carpentry, skillful carpenters are there. If you take blacksmiths, if you take goldsmiths, if you take different dimensions. The weavers, India has produced different varieties of weavers, which the whole world couldn't do it. So in that way we have a great skill. Every individual is having some skill is there in every individual. It is not today, thousands of years onwards, that skill is being taught from the father to the child like that. So my dear friends, India is having a great potentiality of very fertile land. Yes, very important. Many countries are very big in size. In size they are big. But the cultivated land is very less for them. So our nation is having, we must be proud that we are having the most fertile soil. Because our ancestors, if you take again thousands of years onwards, our ancestors have the culture of praying to the cow, praying to the animals. That is a very important culture, because in this culture we had the population of the cows are 10 times more than the human population. Because of that, the fertility of the soil has increased. From thousands of years onwards, lot of care was taken by our ancestors to increase the fertility of the soil. Where cows have taken a key role, the cattle have taken a key role in increasing the fertility of the soil. Today, that's the reason why our lands are very fertile lands. In spite of exploiting them from 50 years onwards, see, this is a misuse of chemistry again. See, chemistry must be used, not should be misused. So, my dear friends, we have a great potential, and we have a great potential of varied varieties of medicinal plants in our Himalayan mountains throughout the length and breadth of the country. We have great potentiality of different varieties of vegetation we have. If you go to many countries, you can't see the mango tree growing in that country. You can't see a guava tree growing in that particular country, because of the climatic conditions are not suitable. For that, if you take amla, many countries, amla cannot be grown. In that way, many countries cannot grow many vegetables and fruits what this country is having. This country is having variety of the food stuff. This is a great potential we have because of the climatic conditions we have. Our country is a great potentiality. We have a great potentiality of the spices. My dear friends, the Britishers who came to our country is just for the sake of spices. It's a great thing which happened. The Europeans, the Britishers came, the French people have came, the Dutch people have came, the Portuguese people have came, and all those people have waged war in our country. It became the platform for them to wage a war to get the supremacy on us. You can understand the kind of competition they had to come to our country. That indicates that we are having the potential. And this country is having a great drainage system. So many number of rivers are there throughout the length and breadth We are having naturally, we are having a lot of natural resources. Minerals are there. This country has abundant mineral resources are there. It may be iron or the aluminium bauxite, or you take many, copper, zinc, all types of minerals, including gold and including the costliest minerals. This country is having a great potentiality. Our nation is having a potentiality of great radioactive elements, my dear friends. Again, now we are going to discuss about the radioactive elements. 60% of the world thorium is there in our country. So this is a great potentiality. In future, we can use the radioactive element, the thorium, to generate the electricity, we can use the energies. At a less cost we can generate, and we can get the employment increase. Industrialization can be improved, because energy is the main source, main backbone to improve all the national economy. We are having a great potentiality of them. See, we are having potentiality of coal. Okay, now we are slowly shifting from the non-renewable sources to the renewable sources. So my dear friends, in that way, we are having a desert. We are having the desert environment. If you have just go to the Thar desert, we are having all types of varied. That's the reason why this country is called as a subcontinent. What all the things are there in a continent, all these things are observed in this country. And the most important thing, we are having number of languages and number of culture throughout the length and breadth of the nation. If you go, the languages, that also is a great potential. Language takes a years of time for its development. The sound, the raw sound, coming to the refined form, it takes years of time. It takes. We are having so many number of languages in this country. It's having great culture and its heritage, its temples. You just see the length and breadth of the country. Everything is celebrated, my dear friends. So this is all the potential of this nation. This nation is having every potential. So my dear friends, these are all kinds of potential, and you are the great potential. The most important thing, the wealth of this country is not in the amount of gold or the amount of silver or the amount of diamonds or the amount of platinum it has, but the youth, the quality youth is the wealth of this country. This was told by the Swami Vivekananda, who inspired the youth, and youth is the wealth of this country. So my dear friends, this is a great potential. You have a great potentiality. Within you there is a great potentiality. We have to extract that. So I think now you understood the meaning of what is the meaning of potential. Availability, potentiality. I think now you understood. Now difference. What is the meaning of difference? I know, you know what is the difference. Difference means difference in the height, I think you know the difference. It's a normal word, everybody knows about it. Now let us see the meaning of potential difference. For example, I am just trying to give an example. For anything to flow means for air to flow. See, at normal conditions air cannot flow. Generally by seeing the old people, if you take the old people, your grandmothers, your grandfathers, just coming outside, by observing the nature, they will say that cyclone is about to come or a rain is going to come. They will predict it 99.9% they are correct. How these people are able to do? They observe the nature. In general conditions, the velocity of air is normal. But before the cyclone is going to come, the velocity of the air will change. So by seeing the velocity of the change of velocity, okay, a cyclone is coming. For example, if this is a country, India, here is a Bay of Bengal and there is a low pressure area. See, a low pressure area is created. Low pressure area. When there is a pressure difference, low pressure and a high pressure, due to the pressure difference, wind starts blowing. The flow of wind is possible due to the pressure difference. Very important. Wind flows only when there is a pressure difference. Now you understood what the pressure difference. And water flows. For example, water flows from a higher altitude to a lower altitude. So for any water to flow, for example, you are taking a tap here, you are taking a tank here. This is full and this is full, and you just kept a tap between them. Water will not flow in that tap. But if you are just putting water and just you are putting water, an outlet here, and you are putting another tank here, immediately the water flows because water moves from a higher altitude to a lower altitude. So water knows which is higher altitude and which is lower altitude. So for the flow of water, difference in the height is very important. Height difference makes the water to flow. Without the height difference, water cannot flow. Difference is very important. Now, heat flows when there is a difference in temperature. If you are taking a hot body and you are taking a cold body, and when you are putting them in contact, the heat flows from a hot body to the cold body until both the temperatures are same. So the flow of heat is possible only when there is a temperature difference. So temperature difference is very important for the flow of heat. Next, my dear friends, now just we have seen air flow, water flow, heat flow. Now electricity flow, flow of electricity. For example, at one point we are having more charges, more number of positive charges or more number of electrons. At one point we are having 100 electrons are there, at one point we are having 5 electrons are there. So there is charge differences. There is a charge difference. Here the potentiality is 100 electrons are there at point A, and here the potentiality is only having 5 electrons are there. So there is a charge difference is there. This is called the potential difference. Maintaining this difference. Now when you put a wire, now immediately the electrons start rushing from A to B until they become equal in number. So my dear friends, this is called the potential difference. Maintaining a charge difference is called a potential difference. I think now for the flow of current, for example, if you are having 100 here and also 100 here, 100 electrons are there, 100 electrons are there. But there is no difference. Electrons are there, but there is no difference. Now you connected with the wire. No current passes through it. So for the flow of current, there must be a potential difference. Now I think you understood what is the meaning of potential difference. So my dear friends, now briefly I could give some example. And in nature everything flows from higher to lower. But there is one thing which doesn't flow. That is money, which now doesn't flow. We will not discuss that now. Now my dear friends, now coming to the potential difference, nearly about 10,000 volts of potential difference is maintained. Now again I am using a unit called volt. Potential difference is measured in volts. The unit of measuring potential difference is volt. Again we will discuss about that in detail when we discuss about electricity. So here a potential difference of 10,000 volts is maintained, and a pressure of, see my dear friends, what we are doing now is, just now I told all the story just to tell about what is the meaning of potential difference. So my dear friends, in nature everything flows from a higher to the lower. That is the nature. That is the nature of the nature. Let us live in the nature and let us safeguard the nature. Okay. Now we are discussing about the cathode rays. Our aim is now to discuss about the cathode rays. So cathode ray means is nothing but a tube you are taking. In this cathode ray experiment, you are taking a tube. You are giving one terminal. Here I am taking this symbol indicates the battery symbol. This is a symbol of a battery. The long line indicates a positive terminal of the battery and the short line indicates a negative terminal of the battery. So my dear friend, this is the symbol of the battery. The battery is providing the necessary potential difference. The battery is providing the necessary potential difference. Okay, the positive terminal is connected to the anode and the negative terminal is connected to the cathode. So now, and the pressure is very less amount of pressure is maintained, about 0.0001 mm of Hg. Mm of Hg. Hg means mercury. Means very less pressure. Very less. Nearly about, I think it is okay, 0.001 mm of Hg. Very less pressure. Means almost there is no air inside. Almost there is nothing inside. 0.001 means almost nothing. Almost nil. Almost nil. Only few atoms are present also. This is the arrangement which was done. So my dear friends, here, I think now you understood what are the apparatus required, what is the experiment that we are doing now? Cathode rays. We are studying about the cathode rays. Why are we studying about the cathode rays? To know about the atom. To study about, to observe about the atom. So to construct a cathode ray, what are the things that are required? What are the apparatus required? We require a tube, a glass tube, which is transparent, where we can see. And the glass tube is again coated with a fluorescent material called zinc sulfide. Zinc sulfide is a fluorescent material. For example, if you take a tube, there is a kind of powdered material is there throughout. So that is called a fluorescent material. Fluorescent material is nothing but if any external object comes and falls on it, if any small minute particle comes and falls on it, it gives a flash of light. It gives a flash of light. So that we can understand that okay, some particle is coming. You can't see the particle, but you can only observe the spark here and you can predict that okay, something is coming. So for that sake, the tube is being coated with the fluorescent material. Zinc sulfide is a fluorescent material. Now you understood what is the pressure maintained, what is the potential difference maintained. Now something is passing in this. Now here it is observed that in the cathode ray tube, it is observed that, see my dear friends, at the back of many things are observed, but only I am talking about only one thing. It is observed that at the back of this anode, something is glittering here. Some scintillations are observed at the back of the anode. Because the whole thing is dark, the only thing is something is glowing here. The scintillations are produced at the back because of the zinc sulfide coating, fluorescent material. Means that something is coming from the opposite direction, that is a cathode. From cathode, some particles are coming. These particles are being called as the cathode rays. The cathode rays are coming like this. So, my dear friends, we don't know what are there in that cathode rays. What are there in that cathode rays, we don't know. Let us see what are the observations J.J. Thomson have done